Hello, welcome to the lecture on this topic, progress payments. The objectives of this topic. So, this topic discusses progress payments and the various documents necessary for the payment process. The objectives of this topic are to introduce the following: a variety of processes available and the owner's goals in progress payments, schedule of values, its contents, and its preparation, uses of cash flow projections, progress payment procedure, and compilation of the progress payment. First of all, introduction. Proper management of payments for construction work is a very important responsibility of project administration for a contractor. An understanding of the process is necessary to efficiently manage the payment process. Prompt, accurate, and efficient processing of the payment request can literally save the contractor thousands of dollars on each project. A brief payment processing period will reduce the interim financing cost incurred by the contractor. So, several methods of payment are available for construction work, depending on the project delivery method, the owner's financial situations, and the arrangements made for payment and payment frequency. The most common method of payment in commercial building construction projects is the traditional owner contractor contract is by monthly progress payments, which are partial payments for work completed during a portion, usually a month, of the construction period. So payments for the project at the completion of the project is also done in some arrangements. So this arrangement can be termed a turnkey, as the project is delivered to the owner and payment is made for the project. In this type of arrangement, interim financing costs are included in the project cost. So speculative construction also normally requires payment after the project is completed. Although these arrangements require payments after the construction, accounting for the percentage complete at periodic periods is still necessary, usually to justify financing payments. As the monthly progress payment is the most common method of payment in commercial building construction, this topic will primarily deal with the procedures concerning these periodic payments. So, progress payment reflect payment for the work in place and material delivered during the application period. Under the progress payment method, an estimate of the work completed is made and payment is made for that amount. Most contracts deduct an amount of retainage from the amount earned during the period. Retainage is an amount held by the owner until the final completion of the contract. It can be held for a number of reasons depending on the owner and the owner's contracting rules. In some cases, retainage is held by the owner to complete the project if necessary. Some owners, particularly public owners, retain an amount as a reserve fund to cover material man and subcontractor liens on the project. So varying amount of retainages are held by owners, usually 5 to 10%. So this amount is uh, expressed in the contract documents and is established in the agreement between the owner and the contractor. So some contracts do not retain funds, as the contractor's performance and payment bond is intended for same purpose as retainage. So when retainage is held, it is normally released in the final payment when the contract requirements are completed. Materials delivered to the job site, even when not actually incorporated into the work, is usually included in the progress payment. So special care is normally taken to inventory the material stored at the job site. So some owners will also include material stored away from the job site in the progress payment with special provisions. It is necessary to assume the owner that it is necessary to assure the owner that the material is insured and will be installed during the project. So some reluctance may occur on the owner's part in paying for the material stored off-site that could be used for other projects, such as non-fabricated and generic material and lumber. So the owner's primary concern with stored material is whether uh, it will eventually be incorporated into the project. Also, various methods of inspection and verification are done by the owner to determine accuracy of the payment request. So this verification process can vary from a meticulous measurement of work in place and material stored to an approximation of the percentage completed for the activities. So owners and their agents such as architects, engineers and construction managers are concerned that proper amount be paid without overpayment. Schedule of values. The schedule of values is a written list in tabular form of the value amounts relating to the activities of work associated with the appropriate monetary amounts for each activity. So the schedule of values is not time related but merely a list of the values of the construction activities, so upon which progress payments are made. So the items for the schedule of values are often prescribed in the project manual and are selected to accurately monitor the progress of the project. The activities listed should be adequately detailed to facilitate estimation of the percentage of completion of the item. So too many items in the schedule of values unnecessarily complicate the payment process. So some projects use the activities in the construction project progress schedule as the schedule of values. So this method creates a large number of payment activities. It is described that the use of the construction schedule activities as the schedule of values for payment request emphasizes the payment schedule rather than using it as a planning tool during construction. So a separate schedule of values separates the management of payment requests processing and construction uh, request processing and construction scheduling. The schedule of value normally will list construction activities that are identifiable as a system or installation. So let's see this figure, which shows two fairly typical schedule of values with varying details. So this figure shows the comparison of details in a schedule of values. So for example, uh, in example 1, site work and concrete and masonry are the uh, uh, examples, and in example 2 it is a little bit more detailed. So for example, in this example 1 is a broad scope example of a detail in the schedule of values. Example 2 takes the broad scope of items in example 1 and divides them into further detail, matching actual work activities. So this example 2 provides a more accurate activity breakdown for estimating the amount completed in a given period. So estimates of actual progress will be more accurate using the detailed breakdown in example 2. So in this case, as we can see that the site work, for example, have been divided into various parts. Concrete work have been divided into various parts, and then of course later on masonry work may also be divided into various parts later on. But of course, just for example, we have shown the details for the site work and the concrete. The schedule of values normally include all materials, uh, labor, equipment, subcontracts, and distributed overhead and profit for each item. Several items are optional for inclusion in the schedule of values, depending on the customs of the owner and architect and the engineers. So let's see some of these optional items. First of all is the mobilization. Mobilization is about the temporary facilities, transportation, setup, etc. So a number of costs are incurred by the contractor at the very start of the project. Some relate to temporary facilities, including transportation and setup of office and storage facilities for the contractors and subcontractors. Temporary security fencing, installation of temporary utilities such as power, water, and telephone, and access routes for the job site. Some of these initial costs include immediate payments required for performance and payment bonds, builders' risk insurance, and builders' building permits. So, some contracts treat the building permit as a reimbursable cost paid by the owner when incurred by the contractor. And some owners refuse to pay for the performance bond initially and feel that it should be distributed evenly throughout the contract. Uh, General conditions. So, general conditions costs normally relate to direct job site overhead. The following items could be included in the general conditions value. Cost of supervisory personnel such as uh, superintendent and field engineers, which would not be included in the work activities. Monthly costs for temporary facilities, cleaning costs, both in progress and final, uh, job site trucks and equipment, and miscellaneous direct overhead. So these costs would be paid in monthly progress payments as the costs would be incurred. Punch list costs. So many owners and architects and engineers include an additional item for punch list items. The punch list is a list of items that must be completed or repaired prior to final completion. Without the punch list value, all of the money in the project is claimed without anything left to cover the cost of completing the punch list. The project retainage often is not available to finish the punch list items, as it may be reserved for liens or reinvested in an interest bearing account. The punch list items are actually part of the work activities, and the amount to cover the list should be deducted from the work activity values. So many owners will assign a percentage of contract amount to the punch list, usually from 1 to 5%. Uh, the the estimate is not arranged into the necessary items for a schedule of values. So the estimate detail is different than the detail in the schedule of values. Computation of the schedule of values is necessary. The next figures will illustrate the translation of the estimate into the schedule of values. So the preparation may include the combination of items, separation of lump sum items, and distribution of overheads. And sometimes front loading is also performed in the estimates. So this figure is a typical contractor's estimate summary sheet following the CSI master format and showing the costs for labor, material, equipment, and subcontracts for each